named the first team this season to make a coaching change, firing head coach Jay Gruden early Monday morning after the team dropped to 0-5. Assistant head coach Bill Callahan takes over on an interim basis and reiterated the team's previous stance on quarterback Dwayne Haskins.
Not right now, but he will be at some point in time. You know, we're going to continue to develop him and heighten his maturation process and try to get him on schedule so that he is prepared. So there's always a possibility, he could be active or deactive. So we'll see as we move along.
Coach Callahan answering the direct question, will Dwayne Haskins start? The answer, not right now. Panic or patience, gentlemen, on the Redskins, in particular, their quarterback situation.
Go ahead, Coach.
You're
the coach, so you know more about this than us.
We're in a panic situation.
Oh, boy. Sound the alarm.
We just lost our head coach. To me, the problem is that we're talking about a plan for – we don't even have a plan. We're talking about Haskins. In May, we should have been camped out at Ohio State, determining the things that he was comfortable with, that he did best. Mm-hmm. Make sure you're picking the brain of Day and Urban and those guys, and understand how you made this guy throw 50 touchdowns in college. You gotta tap into his comfort zone and focus on the things that he can do. Don't worry about what he can't do. Let's do the things he can.
In other words, don't come in here and plug and play him into our system. Let's build our system around.
Exactly.
A pick we chose to we chose to spend a first-round pick on this guy.
Listen, it's panic for me, and it's not just about Dwayne Haskins. It's about the entire quarterback room. You have two guys who have been career backups in Case Keenum.
Oh, there you go. We have delayed
it was
panic.
a little slow.
That's my
and Colt McCoy, and you know what those guys are at the quarterback positions. And not to mention, Colt McCoy didn't play well last week. There's an opportunity late in the second quarter where you can go down and drive on the New England Patriots where you're only down 9-7, and he throws the ball right to Jason McCourty. And so if you've watched him play, you saw the 5 turnovers from Case Keenum against the Chicago Bears, and then when Dwayne Haskins was asked to fill in for Case Keenum because of a foot injury, you haven't been preparing him throughout practice. And so this entire room isn't prepared to play right now. This entire room isn't what you need them to be competitive at that position. So it's not just about not having a plan for Dwayne Haskins. It's about not having a viable option in the room as a starting quarterback right now, and you can't win games like that.
It's a tough spot to be in. We know it's a quarterback-driven league.
And I'm panicked for a long-term reason that goes beyond this year.
See, Dan's not just going to panic about today.
We're going to go way
keep
down the line. Keep on panicking into the future.
I hear you. Okay,
because,
good.
Look, this coaching staff needs to see more from Dwayne Haskins than it has seen, and it needs to offer him more opportunity to show what they need to see. But this may not be his coaching staff next spring, next summer, next fall. And so you have the strong possibility that the people who are in charge of his development right now are not going to be the same people that are going to be in charge of his development next year, which raises the possibility that he starts next year a year behind in terms of that development. Now, we've seen it work. Obviously, the prominent example is Jared Goff with the Rams, and he took very well to the coaching switch after his first year. But that unknown is a big deal with a guy that has this little starting experience. Remember, he didn't start that many games in college.
Not at all, which has been the knock from the get-go.
And hasn't been able to force his way into that starting lineup yet.
I would take it a step further. You say it's possible he won't have this coaching staff. I would say it's probably quite likely.
I try to be nice.
I know. Well,
yeah.
Thanks.
Maybe they can go back to the future. Maybe they can go back to the future and get
You're panicking for the next 6 years.
Panicking. Well,
he was there.
I'm concerned,
Yeah.
All right. Well, there's another aspect to this, okay? Redskins team president Bruce Allen spoke yesterday. We talked about the quarterback situation. He was also asked about the culture surrounding his team.
The culture is actually damn good. These people care. We have a very young core of players that we have brought in here who are accustomed to winning. If you look at the record of these guys, they're accustomed to winning. They want to win. We've made too many mistakes on game day, but the effort of the players and the rest of this organization is fantastic.
Well, I'm going to tip my cap right now because he's the first guy with an 0-5 team to have a damn good culture. So he's the one. Congratulations.
Listen, guys, I know. Listen.
Panic or patience on the culture?
Panic.
Yeah, of course.
And and it's October, but if I was talking to Bruce Allen, I'd say July, because you are lying. It is not a good culture. when you have 40 people threatening to walk out of your building because of the work conditions, when you have a left tackle who refuses to come to work because he feels like he was misdiagnosed and mistreated, when you have a first-round quarterback who is taking practice reps as the scout team quarterback and is unprepared to go into a game, when you've had 6 head coaches since you took over the team, when the one head coach who was actually doing well, you only gave him 1 year because you were enamored with Steve Spurrier, who didn't want to coach in the pros, and when it would snow outside, would rather go golf and let people go home. Your culture stinks. It sucks. You got a GM that was actually doing well. You ain't like him. He had some off-the-field stuff, so you let him go. Don't lie to us. And here's the thing. Don't believe your own lie. That's even worse. You can lie to us. It's okay. You can stand up in front of the media and say, you know what, guys, things are great around here. But don't lie to yourself, son, because Bruce Allen, if you believe that, this means you're going to be in the same place next year and 4 years afterwards.
Well, other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play? I think that pretty much sums it up.
I mean,
should we just can we just press that panic thing and just keep it down for a few minutes and just there you go.
I'm sorry.
No, you're right.
This
was my point. You don't have an 0 forget it. You're 0-5 to start with, much less everything you said. It certainly has an element of truth to it. The culture is clearly not a positive one.
The point about their best player, Trent Williams, doesn't want to play there anymore. I mean, he's not going to show up. And so that says an awful lot. And you look at, what's the plan? He says guys that have won, we have guys that have won. You can't just draft a bunch of guys from Alabama and Ohio State and expect the culture to be good. You got to make your own culture.
The plan better be eventually to find your new head coach and hope it's a fit. And to that end, Steelers reporter Brooke Pryor tweeted this earlier. Mike Tomlin, of course, he's been sort of mentioned here and there about being a preferred candidate for this job. He said, I'm the head coach of a 1-4 football team that's going on the road to play a Hall of Fame quarterback with a third-string quarterback. Do you think I'm worried about anything other than that? You want to talk about not lying? Mike Tomlin's not lying, because that's absolutely true.
Take him at his word there.
We are absolutely going to take him at his word, and we'll have the details on Sam Darnold and perhaps a Mason Rudolph update when we come back as we look ahead to Week 6. Quarterback cleared for contact today. This was after being diagnosed 4 weeks ago with mononucleosis, mono as we call it. He will start Sunday. That's right. He will start against the Dallas Cowboys. The team made that announcement official. Look, that's great. For anyone who I think feels like this is the ultimate remedy for the Jets in their 2019 season, I'm not sure
They're delusional as Bruce Allen.
That's, almost as what I would say, but it's a step in the right direction and good for the quarterback. I'll say that.
You get your program back on track.
Yeah,
this year is about going forward with Sam Darnold and developing him, and he obviously can't do that while he's not playing. They're also getting Chris Herndon, the tight end, back from suspension this week. Just kind of a guy they can use in the offense. Might help everybody a little bit, so.
I refuse to say, can they beat the Cowboys? Because, anything can happen on a given Sunday. But, Coach, what would it take in your estimation, or, what's the best game plan, if you will, against Dallas for the Jets?
Well, I was actually in Philly for the ball game against the Jets this past weekend, and it looked like their team was a little more away than just Sam Darnold returning.
Yeah.
They had some issues, okay? So I think it'll help. Obviously, Sam's a good player, and they'll allow Adam to do, everything he wants to do within the offense. But I think they're still missing a few pieces, so it's going to be a tough day against Dallas.
When you talk to people around that situation, they'd say linebacker C.J. Mosley is like the bigger loss in terms of his impact on the team. Yes. So while he's still out, I think they're still going to struggle overall.
I like how we've encapsulated the team. Looked like they had some issues.
A little short.
Yeah, listen, it happens. We all got issues.
10 sacks.
It happens. Yeah. The Steelers have
10 sacks.
That's a lot of sacks.
Yeah, that's a lot of sacks. Listen, the Steelers have some issues as well, as you heard from the aforementioned Mike Tomlin. Quarterback Mason Rudolph, we got an update today. He remains in concussion protocol after that scary hit from Earl Thomas in Sunday's loss to the Ravens. Coach Tomlin would not speculate on a timetable for Rudolph's return. The Steelers will visit the Chargers on Sunday night. And as you heard from Mike Tomlin earlier, they will be facing Phillip Rivers and company with what is likely a third-string quarterback. We don't expect to see Mason Rudolph, even though that's not
It's possible.
Official.
Possible? I mean, Josh Allen cleared concussion protocol in a week in Buffalo, so it's not about how hard he got hit or what he looked like after he got hit. It's about does he meet the steps as the week goes along? Is he cleared for contact? Does he not show symptoms the next day? So if he's in the building, I don't rule it completely out.
And you were at that game when he was concussed.
Oh, yeah, he was unconscious when he hit the ground.
I know. The optics of it, I hear your point.
Yes,
it's a step-by-step evaluation, but it would be shocking just having seen the hit and seen the reaction.
It would. But, again, the steps are in place. If he passes the requisite tests today, tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, doesn't show symptoms, then it's conceivable. Again, Josh Allen just did it last week.
As someone who has been concussed.
Why, yes, right.
And been a part of the protocol, there are just different steps that you have to take and requirements that you have to reach to play in the game. And it doesn't necessarily matter what the hit was like or what it looked like from an optics standpoint. Sure. And I think that's kind of where everyone is it just looked so bad without him being able to be on the cart, wobbling off of the field, his face mask off. But it's about the steps that it takes to be cleared to play and to make sure that you're healthy. And so right now, until they rule him out, we have to go with that. He is just in the protocol, and they will figure things out as they approach the Los Angeles Chargers.
If Rudolph misses time, undrafted rookie Devlin Hodges will start for the Steelers. He went to Stanford, where he broke Steve McNair's FCS record for passing yards. And oh, by the way, I can't make this up, he's also nicknamed Duck. Why, you ask? Because he won a national championship in duck calling.
World junior champion.
Winner.
World junior champion at age 13 in duck calling and Alabama State champion in 2018. This guy knows how to win.
I want to go hunt with him.
He's a winner.
Where's Bruce Allen? That's a winner. See, he said he wants winners. We got you one. All right, listen, panic or patience, Ryan, on the Steelers quarterback situation?
I'm patient because they knew they would be without Ben Roethlisberger for the year anyway. So it wasn't necessarily like you're losing Ben this week and all of a sudden it changes in the sense that you're playing with a backup. This is a guy that played so well in the preseason. He became somewhat of a folk hero in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, and people wanted to see him. The skills that he showed, they also showed up against the Baltimore Ravens in the fourth quarter. This team didn't lose this game or didn't make that final drive in overtime because it was too much for him or because the moment overwhelmed him. He made the throws that he needed to make. There was the one interception early to Earl Thomas, but he looked comfortable. This is a guy with a little bit more athleticism. We've watched him get outside the pocket, and he's thrown a ton of footballs, though not on this level. When you break Steve McNair's record, that means you are a flat-out baller, and so this guy does give them a chance to at least go out there and play competitive football the same way they were with Mason Rudolph.
Flat-out baller and a flat-out caller.
Listen, do you know how to do a duck call? You're sort of my next level.
I'm so tired of Dan Graziano, right?
What do you mean? No. Again tomorrow.
You can't
get that one.
You can't do it.
I can't.
You do not know how to call a duck.
I don't know. I've never held a hunting rifle. I'm from New Jersey.
That's true. I'm from the South. I'm
not into that.
But I don't know how to duck call. But maybe by tomorrow. All right. How about? I tell you what you do. You do know information. So you can, yeah. Well, let's see. Update us on a few things around the league. One of them, Saquon Barkley.
We talked about Saquon Barkley earlier. Look, I mean, he wants to go. He sprained a high ankle sprain 2.5 weeks ago. The Giants are thinking long term with this player. They took him number 2 in the draft. They traded their superstar receiver a few months later. He is the future. He's the face of the franchise. If there's any risk at all, they will not put him in that game Thursday night against the best defense in the entire league.
Oh boy. Jalen Ramsey.
I wish I had an update. There isn't. It's a standoff. He still wants out. They still don't want to trade him. He's out with a back injury. Saw the specialist in Houston on Monday. You know, we have to take him at his word that he has the back injury, but certainly there is suspicion around the league.
At some point, they don't have to take him at his word.
Right. I mean, you have to wonder when that point is.
Yeah.
So that's a standoff for a couple weeks till the trade deadline. Vontaze Burfict, look, he's having his appeal hearing today, scheduled for going on right now, scheduled for 2:00. We could have an answer on this, whether the suspension is reduced by the end of the day. Usually that's the protocol. They announce by the end of the day. But somebody told me that because both sides sort of acknowledge that the end result will be some kind of suspension, they're not necessarily going to be in a rush to deliver the decision.
All right, one additional piece of information. Ron Rivera has just announced that Cam Newton won't travel to London. Again, he continues to deal with that foot injury. They continue to have a quarterback who's undefeated as a starter, so I'm not surprised. Again, this from Adam Schefter, new on NFL Live. Mike Tomlin says running back Jalen Samuels underwent arthroscopic knee surgery on Monday. He will now be sidelined about 1 month. And boy, look, nobody going to feel sorry for you, but the Steelers cannot catch a break with these injuries.
I mean, he's been playing quarterback the last couple weeks, too, so they're really banged up at that position. He did. Threw an interception.